just start as it's loading because it loads at a specific rate.
Mhm.
So one and all, thank you for joining us. I'm just going to give YouTube a chance to fully activate, make sure
Mhm.
that we're live, and then we're going to officially begin. There we go. Well, one and all, welcome to GoodLife GPS. My name is James MacNeil. You have to put up with me. But the good news is you get to hear from brilliant minds, brilliant souls from all over the world. So GoodLife GPS, our focus is to help you find the best path to your best life as your best self. And to do that, we bring in the top experts, experts on technical things. Today, we're going to be talking about AI, artificial intelligence. We also bring in nutrition experts, fitness experts, emotional intelligence experts. And so it all is part of the journey. And today I want you to have peace. I want you to be able to become comfortable with what is AI in your world. Now, you might have questions about what is it in the world and what is the future, and that's fine. And maybe our guest will be willing to help us out with some of that. But what I really want and what I've asked him to do is just to help you with the basics. How can I benefit from this thing called AI? And so today you're blessed with the owner of a marketing agency, SynapzeAI. He is a speaker, an entrepreneur, an investor. He's on the front edge of many really cool things. So I would like to have about 10 of these interviews with Kanji, but for right now, we're going to take what we can. So, good sir, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you helping us out here with Good Life GPS.
Yeah, thank you for having me, James. It's been a pleasure talking to you and meeting you. And yeah, I'm very excited to see where this conversation will go.
Yeah, you and I both. So, Australia is home. At the moment, you're in Vietnam.
Mm.
It's
Correct.
4 a.m. where you are, 8 a.m. in Australia. It's 4 p.m. here in Fort Lauderdale. So, we got to love technology, right? Technology opens up the possibilities. So, how easy or difficult would it be for us to be able to connect like this live from all over the world? Audio, video, text. The power of technology is, I mean, we really haven't, there's no way we could evolve at the pace of opportunity. The way we're wired as people, this is unfamiliar. Like, what do I do if I could access all of the world's wisdom from my handheld device? What would I do if I could meet with the world's top experts? What would I do if I had access to AI that can basically do let's just say 50% of the things that I struggle with, it could probably help me out with. So I want to turn it over to you, Kenji. Please give us some wisdom for regular folks. How could AI play a part in making my life easier or make me more effective or profitable? So save us, my friend, save us.
Yeah, I think the first thing, and it's a really good point. The first thing that we should really look at when it comes to AI is what can it solve for me today,
Hmm.
right? We tend to look at the holistic picture of, oh, what can it do for me in the future? Where do I need to be? But what can it
Hmm.
solve for you today?
Yeah.
And when you look at AI, it's kind of like when the Industrial Revolution came, right? The machines came, and obviously there's good and bad sides, and people have different views about it, right?
Hmm.
But it's like when that happened, and then when the computer revolution happened, when the internet came, it's the same thing. The computer has just made our job much easier. We don't have to use typewriters anymore.
Hmm.
We get to use computers to help us connect like this online, just like what you've said. And I feel if we don't ask that question of how AI can help us today in this day and age, right now in your business, I
Hmm.
feel like we don't start to open up those pathways, both intellectually, both
Hmm.
spiritually, and also physically on what possibilities are out there. I had a question asked to me yesterday. Actually, it was on Facebook. It's like, why should we adapt to AI? And the question isn't why should we adapt to AI? What is it that you have to gain by using AI?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the question. So, like, I would say to any business owner who's kind of like stressing out, like, oh, like, I'm going to miss out. You're not missing out. You're still very early.
Hmm.
A lot of business owners may feel like, oh, I might feel like I need this, or what should I do next, or there's a lot of
Yes.
overwhelm with tools. Just start with today. What can you do
Yes.
today with it?
I love that. I love that. And like I remember when Facebook came out and
Mm,
a lot of people who are, I'm 60 now, and a lot of people who are, older than you, became quite excited about the idea that they could connect with their family and friends overseas. And,
mm,
my grandkid in this country or whatever, I get to see their pictures. I get to, like, it just opened up the opportunity for human connection. And I think with AI, what it can do is it can free up my non-human necessary tasks. If there's things that are like
mm.
they're taking time away from me, just loving on people I care about and doing the things that matter, it's that kind of stuff that I can delegate to technology. Would you agree that that's a good place to start?
I think that is the most important place to start. And I feel like that's a place where if people can really harness that mindset, I feel like they can go places.
Beautiful. So, regular folks out there, what kind of tools would you suggest they consider and how would they start? So, someone says, I don't even know how to
Yep.
spell ChatGPT. I don't know what this stuff
Mm,
is. What is a
mm.
Grok? Where would you suggest regular folks start and say, hey, just try this? What's your suggestion?
I think the first thing, and this is how many people learn, and this is how I learned how to get into AI, because when I jumped into AI, it was about 2 years ago, probably 7 days after ChatGPT was launched. I was obviously just talking about technology, and I have a bit of a technology background.
Hmm.
And I also wanted to make things much easier for not just my clients, for people that I talk to on a day-to-day basis on what is this thing called ChatGPT, or what is this thing called artificial intelligence or AI. And for me, what I did is obviously when you learn, you learn best by doing it, right? I learned AI by being invited to a speaking gig overseas in Malaysia to
Hmm.
be able to speak on AI, to learn about AI. And I was learning from technology, like people that are really, really invested in the game. So people that are actually building language models. So what a language
Wow.
model is
Yeah.
is where you have a process or a platform where you're talking with English to
Hmm.
get an output. So I was working with these, these individuals overseas, and they've been in it for ages, right? Like, some
Mm.
people 10 years, 15
Yep.
years. And I kind of felt like an imposter because I just knew about it recently, but I've obviously with the technology background, things just started piecing together.
Yes.
So from there, I started doing, right? I started playing around with ChatGPT, finding out what kind of prompts that I could use, what kind of
Hmm.
questions I can ask it, what kind of task or even functions or things I can get it to do.
Hmm.
And then when I went and did my keynote, I was just like, actually, this isn't too bad. Like, I actually
Yeah.
know quite a lot of things,
Yep.
right? And then I didn't feel like an imposter. It's kind of like I had a bit of stage presence as well that came with it as well. So
Hmm.
it was quite beautiful to see. So anyone starting out, I would say delve into the tools, right? Start with ChatGPT, ask it questions, get it
Yep.
to do something. If you're not sure what an agent is, right? Or, a function is, or you don't know what a language model is, find out what that is.
Yeah.
Ask ChatGPT,
Yeah.
ChatGPT what that is. Ask Gemini what that is.
Yep.
And play around with the tool. I would say at the moment, because Google has a very good AI ecosystem, play around with Gemini,
Mm.
Gemini 3. So search that up on Google, Gemini 3, and you'll find that it has all these different, ways that can help you through images, through text, through video. It's got the whole suite.
I'll confess, I'm one of those guys that if I don't put in an effort, I do the same thing all the time. So I will wear the
Mm,
same, you're wearing a black V-neck, I think, t-shirt. I
yep.
have 20 of them. I wear them all the
Mm,
time. I have to remember to put on a shirt. Today I did an interview earlier, and it
mm,
was only after the interview I'm like, I'm still in my black t-shirt. I forgot to put on a
mm,
shirt. And the same thing, when I go to a restaurant, I order the same thing. And so for me, I just went Chat GPT and I use that.
mm,
And then I switched to Grok and I wanted to see
mm,
what he was up to, what they were up to. So I've been playing with
mm,
Grok. So that's
Mm,
it. I haven't really danced around. I mean, I went to Perplexity.
mm,
I thought that was kind of cool, but I've never gone to Gemini. And I just think, for one and all, they don't bite. You just go there. And if
mm.
you find any one of them, like let's say you can figure out ChatGPT and you go there, and then when Kenji said a prompt, it just means what do you type in the little box? That's all a prompt is. And you can say, hey, I have no idea what to do with AI. It'll say, cool. So let's start with who are you? What do you do? And maybe I can make suggestions. And if you say, oh, okay, what are the other AIs? And they'll say, no problem. Here are the definitions, and here's where you can go. So you don't have to know when you go to AI how to use AI. You can ask AI, how do I use AI? It's incredibly patient and gracious and encouraging. And you're like, oh my goodness, this is like fun and easy. And you can let AI help you figure out how to use AI. Would you agree with that?
Yep, that's it. I would say if you don't know anything, ask the AI what it can do to help you.
Yeah.
And then you find out like what's the next step. It literally can collapse time for you, right? And
Hmm.
what I mean by that is, anything that you think of, it can actually do straight away.
Yes.
Whereas,
Yes.
before we'd have to think of something in our mind, it
Hmm.
might take X amount of time for it to, you can say, manifest in the
Yes.
physical. But with AI, it just does it right in here, right now.
And I think one of the benefits of AI, and you can help me out with this, but my my perception has been for quite some time that people are afraid of failure. They're afraid of getting anything wrong. I remember when my
Mm,
son, he's 34 now, and I've become more comfortable. When I started with computers and handheld devices, I'd get all freaky, and I'd say, "Son, how do you do
mm,
this?" And he said to me, "You know the problem with you old people," which is an endearing thing to say to a father. He said, "You know the problem with you old people?" I said, "What is it?" He said, "You're afraid it's going to break." He says, "You're afraid you're going to do something wrong and you're going to wreck your phone or your computer or the program or you're going to lose everything." He says, "We're fearless. We just play and play and play. We don't care if it breaks." And I said, "That's because I'm the one paying for it." But I learned a valuable lesson in that people, in general, who are a little bit older than you, perhaps, have a hesitancy of making a mistake, doing something wrong. And I think our educational system is largely to blame for that. And then I looked at the inventors, the Emersons of the world, and they're like, there's no such thing as mistakes. We get it wrong 10,000 times. It's not failure, it's progress. It's
mm,
now I know that doesn't work. Now I know that doesn't work. And I think playing with AI helps people to feel, oh, wait, it didn't cost me anything. Create an image of a turtle with a Santa Claus hat, and it does something, and you don't like it. You don't say, "Oh, I tried AI, I quit." No, you just say, "Try it again and do it this
mm.
way, or try a different program." It's the allowing yourself to play with the technology and the technology is learning along with you. Would you agree with that? The way to look at it?
Yeah, I think that's the perfect way to look at it. The best analogy I can share, James, in regards to, failure is, when you're a kid, right? And you're in the playground and there's so many different options that you can play from in the playground. So like you can choose the slide, you can choose a
Yep.
swing, you can
Yep.
choose the sandbox, you can choose anything, right? AI is the exact same sandbox when it comes
Nice.
to improving your life or to trying different things, right? So I would say like it is quite obvious. Like even for myself, like I've had to unlearn, you could say,
Hmm.
that block on trying to do something new, or failing faster, or knowing that like success actually comes from that failure. So I look at that from that analogy, and if you
Hmm.
can share that same idea or that same mindset of using AI like a playground or a sandbox in life or in your business,
Hmm.
it just gets much easier, because then
Hmm.
the obviously there may be costs, but because you're just using it for the time being, like what's the worst that can happen,
Oh yeah.
right? I would say, what's the most that you can gain from this?
Hmm.
Because currently what you're doing right now is where you are at this moment. What
Yep.
if you were able to use AI and use it for something different to get you a different outcome?
Yes. Another thing that crossed my mind as we're speaking here, just trying to get the psychology unlocked, to be able to play.
Mm,
I'm from Canada, and in Canada, we
mm,
put the onus of appropriateness on the person who's making a request, which means if I, as a Canadian, talk to you as a Canadian, and I said, "Would you be kind
mm.
enough to mow my lawn?" Right? Mow my lawn,
Right.
wash my car.
Yeah.
You're like, "How dare you?" And the reason why you're offended is because in Canada, everyone's supposed to say yes. So you're not
Right.
supposed to say
Okay.
no to someone who requests help. And so the
Mm-hmm.
pressure is on the asker never to ask anything you shouldn't ask. Always be very
I see.
modest in your request, because the ethos of it is it's not right as a Canadian to say, no, I'm not willing to help you with that. And so Canadians
Mm.
get very upset when people beg, because it's like, I have to give them their money. I have to give the money because they
Right.
asked. I have to mow your lawn
Yep.
if you ask. And so we have a
Mm.
hesitancy to ask for what we want. Now, the Canadian joke is Americans are fearless. They'll look at your mansion and you'll say,
Mm.
hey, I'll buy your mansion for $1. And they don't think that's rude. And the Canadian would go, how dare
Right.
you? Whereas Americans like,
Uh-huh.
I tried. And
Yeah.
so it's an exaggeration, but cultures will sometimes get in the way. And for me, just ask the AI. It's not even a person. You're not going to offend it. Say, hey, can you help me with a graphic? Can you do this? I'm
Mm.
overwhelmed right now. How can I do better? I remember one time I decided to test it, and I don't even know which one it was.
Mm.
I said, can you pretend you're a therapist for me for a minute? It's like, yeah. Do you have a thing? And I'm like, I don't know, Jungian. Let's go with Jungian therapist. And it's like, okay. And then I said, so what if I'm struggling? And it's like, okay. And it was ingenious. And so I just
Mm.
want people to know AI will not be offended at your request. And if it gets it wrong, you don't have to feel bad that you asked it wrong. Just play. Today, one of the AIs was refusing to do an assessment on a video. It said, no, the video won't open. So I tried. I said, no, you're wrong. It does open. So I
Mm.
finally went, fine, I'm going to prove you wrong. And I went to another AI and it worked. And I said, aha, you're wrong because it worked. This is somewhere else.
Mm.
So it's like, it's AI. It doesn't take it personal. Just play and try
Mm.
and ask and learn. And no matter what, let's say I'm trying to decide what to get for dinner tonight. Ask AI. Say, well, do you like salty things? You like this? Here's what's in your area. You'll be amazed how helpful it can be. Would you agree? This is the way I'm kind of like, just play.
Yeah. Yeah. Just play. Yeah. 100%. And I think it also comes down to I think, yeah, I think you said it really, really well. So I think when we were growing up at school, you know how like we always ask the teacher, oh, can
Yes.
I go to the toilet? It's that whole thing. I
Yeah.
think because that the whole behavioral pattern has been taught to us and been given to us, we
Hmm.
don't ask. Even
Yes.
in Asian culture and even in Australia, it's like we humbly ask for things.
Yes.
Like the US is a bit more fearless, but like it's probably from that. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, like can I go to the toilet?
Yeah.
Oh, it's lunchtime. Can I have this? Especially in Asian culture, it's like sometimes when we speak, outside of what we're meant to elders, we're looked upon, right? So
Mm.
we can't speak unless we're spoken to. So
Yes.
it's the same mentality. So like with AI, it's not going to scream at you.
Yeah.
It's not going to yell at you.
And
It's
it's
not
not
going
going to
to do
mock you
anything.
for a
Yeah,
question
it's
that's either
exactly.
simple or not well
Yeah, it's not going to call
articulated.
you
There's no
stupid
judgment.
or
Yep.
yeah, there's no judgment, 100%.
Love
And I
it.
feel like when you just jump in and play around with it and enjoy it and be curious. I think
Yeah.
the main thing is curiosity, James.
Yeah.
And just asking it questions,
Yes.
you'll find that there's so much that you can do with it.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I want to do a 50-part series with you and just take it from there and build and build. So I want to leap, though. I want to leap just for those who are entrepreneurs,
Mm,
business people who are seeking to use it for creative purposes in your businesses. One thing I want to bring up is this. When the week that ChatGPT came out, I was running an event, a live event,
mm,
and someone said, "Well, let me test it." And so while we're sitting there, he actually said, "Can you write me a speech about red roses, guitars, and steel manufacturing?" And boom, and then he says, "Turn it into a song," and boom. And we were just blown away by the speed that it could create something that was worth, looking at or reading. And it didn't take long before I figured out people are worried if it's going to be this giant fake world. And I'm not saying it isn't going to be, because it already is a giant fake world, if you ask me. But the distinction is this: AI used appropriately, and the way that's going to work for you is when you get AI to accentuate, accelerate, and expand on your creative genius, your ethos, your truth. If you put your truth into it, and then it expands, it is astronomical. If it's doing the work for you, then it's, cut and paste. But the way that you in any business are special is because of the you part. It's your soul that touches a soul. It's your heart that touches your heart. And if you delegate the creative part to AI, it's not inaccurate, but it's not transforming. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think yeah, people have this mentality of replacement, right?
Yes.
And I feel it's an embedded thing in society where you go out to the world and you do something and you feel like you're about to lose it, or you feel like you need something. And I feel like that mentality is what really stops us, embracing either new technologies or even new relationships in that
Hmm.
interaction, right? When you go out to the world to feel as though like you need something,
Hmm.
right? You're always going to have that mentality. But if you go out to the world and you realize, actually, like, I don't need anything from this. I want to find out. I want to reveal. I want to,
Hmm.
see what happens. AI can reflect that. So
Yes.
you nailed it with the whole accentuate your soul, you accentuate your brand, accentuate your business when it comes to AI. It's literally an amplifier, just
Yeah.
like how money is an amplifier of your beliefs about it. And it's the same thing when it comes to technology and AI. It just amplifies what you are, right? And
Hmm.
a lot of the time when I'm working with business owners and entrepreneurs, James, I always say AI will amplify your foundations. If your foundation is in chaos, it's gonna amplify that chaos.
Yes. Yes.
If your foundation is solid and you've got good revenue and you've got a good structure, you've got good people around you, the AI will obviously get rid of all the mundane tasks, and then you
Hmm.
can just focus on the thing that you're really good at, whether it's sales, marketing, admin, whether it's talking to new clients as well, and finding the brand and being able to message, content creation, anything that really will accentuate from a
Mm.
technology or an admin's perspective. That's what it will help with.
I love it. Well, listen, we've got to wrap. I want to
Yeah.
keep going. So, for those of you who are interested in learning more about kanji, you can. There's two things I'm going to suggest right now. Number one, the way that we made this connection is because we're both speakers at an event called the Third Annual Global Speakers Event, and it's from December 2nd to the 19th, I believe. And we're both on opening day on the 2nd. And Kenji just gave me terrible news. He says, I'm following him. Oh, the poor people. But we're going to have a great time. So you get to learn a lot more. So the organizer, Anshu, allowed us to give away free tickets. So in the description, you're going to get a free ticket. Register immediately. Take on the whole event. There's a ton of days with a ton of topics. I suggest you take them all in. So that's one thing. The second thing is, and this is very generous, so I'm going to ask you to be respectful. So Genji has offered, it's a AI growth call, an audit. You can have a one-on-one with, and it's with you. It's a real you. It's
Yes.
not staff. It's
Yes.
not an AI,
No. No.
um, which that's awesome. So for those of you who are in business, yeah, you're a solopreneur, you have a venture, or you're in a profession, a business executive where you're serious about AI. If you would like to really know what is the appropriate application of AI for your world, and is your foundation set for what kind of growth, I'll tell you what, if you're ready, Kenji will show you how to strap a rocket to what you're doing. You just want to make sure you have a real wise conversation with a real expert who will help you to ensure you're ready for it, so that it's sustainable growth, that you can handle the successes that will come from it. And I encourage you, if you're serious, to be very grateful and take advantage of this opportunity. And Kenji, I can't tell you anything you want to say about that, your one-on-ones?
No, you've really nailed the detail there. I think when you do come to these calls and you get the plan, you'll know straight away, because I think the main thing businesses actually need is clarity, right? What's
Amen.
your next step? What is it that you have to do today?
Yep.
Not anything in the future. That's we're too inundated with overwhelm.
I love it. Well, listen, my next meeting has already started without me, so I've got to fly. This has been golden, and I hope and pray you'll be kind enough to speak with me more and more. And for those of you watching, I'm signing up. I'm going to jump the calendar because I want to learn from this man. So one and all, click on the Calendly link if you're serious about discussing your business and applications of AI. And for one and all, please register for the event, the third annual Global Speakers event. Kanji Low, thank you, good sir. You're a gentleman and a professional, and I appreciate you.
Yep. Thank you so much, James, for having me. Thank you.
Blessings.
Appreciate
Talk
you.
soon. Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone.